Hi guys, Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Today we got the Pocket Change Market Report. This is the midweek edition for September 4th, 2024. I want to thank each and every single one of you for tuning on in. We're going to take a look at some of the more relevant pieces to have sold here on eBay within the last 12 to 24 hours. Of course, we highlight a lot of things, including mint errors, die varieties. There might even be some other like key date type stuff in here as well that have been cherry picked out in the wild or found in the wild that were resold here recently within the last couple days. We're going to cover all that. A few of the things that, of course, we all know on the PCMR, we don't talk about graded coins. That's equally important to a lot of you that are doing this, in that grading coins costs a lot of money, and if you could absolutely avoid grading coins, you're going to save yourself money. As a matter of fact, a lot of these die varieties and mint errors, they speak for themselves. Therefore, there's just no need to do any of that stuff. There really isn't. And since the dawn of man, there have been a lot of people that collect and love the raw examples rather than getting them graded. Grading is best for like registry set coins and collectible coins, type coins, things of that nature. So stay away from grading if at all possible. These are highly liquid out in the marketplace today. We are encountering a very, very busy time of the year as we head into the what we call the holiday season. So this post Labor Day uh, kind of time period, all the way up till I would say New Year's, is when things really begin to pick up, and the overall market is at its height. For a lot of people. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to kind of talk about all the things that are going on throughout this time period. It's always the wildest time of year, and I'm happy to bring this to you each and every single week. So, before we get started, we do have a whatnot calendar of events. So, along with selling on the platform eBay, we also sell on the platform Whatnot. It's a great way to supplement your business, all right, your income. If you worked at 9 to 5 and you're looking to step away from it because you realize that there are better opportunities, let Whatnot become an integral part to that business success. We have another show coming up here on Friday. We just completed another successful Treasure Hunter's Dream stream, the last one for the foreseeable future. And we have our Friday U.S. Type and Silver Signature auction coming up on September 6th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And by the way, if you're not signed up on the platform, okay, you really should be. September is kind of a big month for Blue Ridge Silverhound on Whatnot, as we have the September Showdown event for each and every single item that you do buy on the platform. You will get a point into a monumental large giveaway at the end of the month. We did this back in May, and it was just a total banger. A lot of folks loved it, and you guys will too. So come sign up today. I have my referral link down below in the description box. You'll save yourself $15 off your first purchase. Doesn't matter what it is or who it's from on Whatnot. And in addition, like I had said and mentioned, Whatnot can be a great supplemental place to go to sell some of your collectibles. They are looking for highly motivated people out there. So if you're currently selling on eBay and you want to expand this operation of yours to a whole new level, look no further than Whatnot. I'll also have a link down below in the description box to sign up today and become a seller on one of the greatest platforms going right now. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in to the selections from eBay. Again, we are using the original photos direct from the sellers, so you're going to get the best and the worst. All right, there's not a whole lot of the worst, which is good news. People are starting to to do it right here, photography wise. All right, how about this 1972 Lincoln Memorial Set? 1972 is one of the big target dates to look through. If you have a 1972 Philly struck coin in your hand, you got to make sure you look at it closely because it could be one of 9 or so big double to dies. This is one of them right here. This is actually double to die obverse FS 108, which is a cherry picker's guide attribution for this particular coin. When we look up close here, you're going to see some of the strongest parts of the coin for doubling, including to, but not limited to, the date, Liberty. You can see some of the separation there, and also probably the strongest aspect of this coin is the motto, "In God We Trust." As you can see, the doubling is quite robust on this one. So, very nice coin, by the way. This one is a very nice mid-state red, and these things are hot in the market today, as a lot of folks are picking up some of the nicer condition pieces. This particular one ended up selling for $81.36 with 3 total bids. So this one was pushed out there on eBay as a traditional auction and did really well. So I would expect to see more of these particular 1972 double to dies to continue on with their strong performance on the secondary market. They are just incredible right now. The next one that we have here now, we typically don't show a lot of off-center struck coins, for the mere fact that some would say these are not searchable in the wild. Okay, and I tend to agree. I have found a few over the course of the last 25 years just hunting through rolls. Okay, and they're going to look kind of similar to what you see here. Not too crazily off center. This one's off center by about 7 or 8%. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a date that we don't see that often off center. And as we do know, these are collected by date. So folks like to put together full decade sets or, just try and collect them all in a good old Pokemon speak. This one right here is a copper-plated zinkin. You can see the fractured areas around the devices where you could see some of the exposed zinc. Not everyone's favorite composition to collect into for this particular era. People tend to gravitate towards the pre-1982 coppers for that very reason, but still, there are collectors for these. This particular example here is sold for $13.95. And again, condition really does matter. So, when that exposed zinc is occurring on these coins, you begin to get some deterioration of the coin itself because of that. Moisture and exposed zinc really doesn't mix too well. The next one that we have here, oh boy, I kind of miss these. And, we've seen a few of them sell over the course of the last month or so. This is the 2020. These are P-minted. They're minted in Philadelphia. Our good old American Samoa Mama and Baby Bat quarter. And these things were the hottest trending searched coin at the time. And you can even make the argument that even today, people are going out of their way to make sure that they're looking at every single example of these as well. So there was a large amount of varying different strike-throughs that you could find on this particular coin. Now, these photos here of the obverse and reverse are okay. They're not the best. I'd say they're just slightly out of focus, but with the close-up provided by the seller paints a completely different picture that is telling of the type of mid-air that you should be looking out for. This is by no means a natural, normal-looking aspect of the design of the quarter. This was also referred to as a field-restricted strike-through, where the feeder finger actually makes contact with the die. The die in turn receives a little bit of damage, and that damage is in the form of these parallel feeder finger scrapes that you can see there in the fields of the coin. That's the flat surface area around the design. But you notice that a big old amount of the mama bat's face is obscured by the strike through, which is a big old gob of grease hardened grease, I would imagine, at this point, that was struck through onto the coin. All right, so this particular one right here, a very nice one. I've seen varying degrees of the size of this strike through, and the larger the strike through, the more money that it equals. This particular one ended up selling for $125, which is a very respectable amount of money. But I've seen these go as high as $400 to $500 if you get the large strike through that covers Mama Bat's entire face. Poor Mama. The next one that we have here, this is a much better example than the 1983 we just looked at. How about 1972D Lincoln Memorial Send? This one is off center, struck by, I would say, 60%-ish. This was an act done outside of the collar, so the collar was not even engaged. The collar is like a big old donut ring that keeps the coin in the striking chamber during the action of the strike. And when it's malfunctioned, the collar won't even be present. So therefore, you get some wacky, zany type strikes like the 72D here that will happen. This one right here, I would say, is not a date that's easily found off center, especially one that looks like this with a full readable date and mint mark. And as a result, this one enjoyed a pretty nice sale price at $40. Which is quite nice. We usually don't see the prices hit that kind of mark. And in case you're wondering, there's going to be folks that'll ask, well, normally we wouldn't find these in like bank rolls or in change so casually. So where do we find them? And the real big reason why I even bring this up is that I have cherry picked a whole bunch of these through coin shops and shows. There's going to be a fair amount of dealers that prefer not to deal specifically with mint errors. It's just really not their niche. So, because of that, they're going to be more inclined to sell these at kind of a discount to the general public. I've bought coins similar to this for around $10 and have sold them for about 3x what I paid for it. So, again, that's another way that you can monetize off of this hobby is to cherry pick from dealers, and especially if it's something that's not particularly in their wheelhouse, they'd be more inclined to give you a deal. I've gotten a bunch of bulk deals going through like bargain bins and things like that at these dealer shows and whatnot. So yeah, always keep that in mind. There's other ways to obtain these where it's going to be a little more cheaper for you to do so. And then, you repost them on eBay, where the audience is going to be a lot larger for things like this. So we do have some paper money, and I was more than shocked to see this one here, 2003, which is a little bit newer series, $1 bill. And the note is actually in really nice shape, but you can see that the overprint on this one is misaligned by a good deal. So all that overprint is shifted to the left on this particular note. What I really like, again, is that the condition is top notch on this one. I'm not going to say that it's a crispy uncirculated, but maybe more along the lines of like about uncirculated. That seems fair here on this one. But other than that, when we assess these notes, we got to make sure we look at both sides. So the back of the note, very, very nicely centered, nice margins on here. So this automatically rules out things like a miscut. People will look at that and make a wrong diagnosis of it being a miscut error, and it's simply not the case. So this particular note right here ended up selling for $131.39 with a total of 22 bids accumulated in there to that amount. Again, a really nice note. I mean, this one, if you're going to look for misalignments, which are quite nice and popular today, look for one that's going to be in the nicest possible condition like this, and that's where you're going to see a lot more meaningful value over the long haul. The next one that we have here, a coin that we're no stranger to. It's the 1972D Kennedy half dollar that is missing Frank Gasparo's initials on the reverse of the coin due to some overzealous polishing. of the dies, and you could tell that that was the case because you could see little polish marks, especially on the obverse, and some on the reverse as well. So 1980 was it 1982 Philadelphia 72D is a much tougher date to find this. It's actually even got its own cherry picker's guide catalog number as an FS901. This particular coin right here is also in pretty nice shape. I'd say it's probably like a high-end AU coin. Did sell for $22.50 with 5 bids. So yeah, definitely some desirability here for you half dollar roll hunters out there looking for that next big silver score. Keep in mind that coins like this one coin right here is equivalent to 290% silver half dollars. So if you're able to see the comparison of value in that way, maybe you might be looking for these a little bit more. All right, so pay attention to these. They are worth some money and worth their weight in silver too. Not the best pictures, but this is a 2004 D Wisconsin State Quarter with the high leaf variant on the reverse. Kind of hard to see. I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer, but you can see that engraved line right there. Again, we're going to talk about these till the cows come home. No pun intended, but yeah, we all understand that this is probably an intentional thing that was done by a Mint employee, to give these a little bit more variety, and that's exactly what we have here. This particular one was sold in the state of Texas on eBay, all right, which figures in very closely to the drop zone of these quarters when they first released. They were distributed in the Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas region of the U.S. back in 2004, and even to this day, folks are still finding these all over the place, and that's okay. They are worth looking for. This particular one, by the way, is hammered at $66.46, 15 total bids. So even coins that look like this, very well circulated, not the best looking on the planet, still having some desirability in this variety market that we're in right now. We also have this one. I would say this is a much better type coin than it is an error because it was pitched on eBay as being I guess just a planchet flaw of sorts. You can see that right there on the word America, which looks to be either a strike through or a delamination, but this is an 1857 Flying Eagle cent. One of the first years of the small cent design. And yeah, I mean, it's okay. I think people that want this particular coin want it as a type coin and less of, kind of like, oh, it's got a little minor, mint error on there. That means less to people. Now, this one right here, I feel like it's kind of a bargain. Technical grade is probably in that VF 20, 25-ish range. This one did sell for $39.95 with 2 bids. And, as we know, Flying Eagle cents of any sort of decent grade, they're pricey. they get expensive. I know coins that look like this without the planchet flaw will probably end up being like 60 to 70 bucks on some occasions. Yeah, we always talk about, when applicable, we talk about group lots as well, bulk lots, because this really is a great way to kind of feed your eBay addiction or your eBay store. If you're looking for inventory and you're having a little bit of a hard time, look no further than the platform you're selling on for inventory. Now, we have a lot of 10 assorted off-center struck. The dime at the bottom's a very nice centered broad struck example, but these are all misstruck coins. As you can see, there are a few examples that have readable dates, and that's important because the ones with readable dates tend to sell for more money on the marketplace. Like, for example, these 10 coins here collectively sold for $67.36 with 6 bids. Now, if you break that apart, that's like $6.70 per coin. And there are easily three or four coins that I could confidently turn around and list individually for like $24.99, $29.99. For example, the Jefferson nickel, the third one, all the way to the right there with the full readable date, and it looks to be a saddle strike. That is a good one right there. That one right there will command every bit of like $30 all day long just for that one coin. And then you have the Roosevelt dimes all of a sudden getting some love in the hobby today. That one would sell for about $25. So between those two coins, you had already made up how much you'd spent on the lot. Now, if you would have done your homework and actually researched how much these coins go for, you're going to find that you're going to do really well at $67 for this lot. So keep that in mind. People are selling bulk lots all the time on eBay. I talk about them multiple times a week. And again, I highly encourage you guys that if you're looking for inventory, check this out because there's going to be more. There's going to be more of them as we head deeper into the holiday season. More people are going to want to move bulk lots. You just need to know what to look for. So we have kind of like a semi-bulk lot here. We have a pair of curved clip Lincoln cents. We have a 1980 Memorial and a 41, a very nice wheat cent reverse type. Now these look to be pretty legit from what I could see here, especially the wheat cent. You could see some Blakesley effect on the reverse of the coin right there by Unum. So this 2 coin lot sold for $16. All right, so this represents an opportunity to take each coin, resell them individually. The 1980 probably is a $10 coin, but the 41, heck, that one you could put up for about maybe 25 bucks, somewhere around there, and recoup a lot of the money that you had spent to own these 2 coins. The next one that we have here, this is one that I'm really happy to talk about, and it's been quite a while since I've seen another one of these. So, I mean, it's an off-center struck 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent. We've seen this one all the time. It's one of the more common dates of an off-center strike that we see because these were commonly inserted into mint-sewn bags from the Fed Reserve Bank. So from 98 to 2001, that seems to be kind of like the cream of the crop 4-year kind of stretch where a lot of these did come out. However, if you're able to find a mint error variety combo, I mean, again, I hadn't seen one I think since last year, and that particular one ended up selling for a pretty good amount of money. And here we are in the month of September. Voila, we have another one. So this one is off center by about 15%. That we could see very plain and clear. Check out that gap between the A&M and America. Yeah, that's a wide AM reverse. This was struck inadvertently with proof dies that they had reserved for the proof strikes during that time. So wide AMs they'd made in 98, 99, and 2000. And yet we have a coin that has both a mint error and also a die variety as well. And I'm happy to say that this one right here, what a great sale. $100.36 with 3 bids. So people recognize what this is, how scarce they are. There were a few bids, a few real parties came forward to pick this one up here. Just really cool to see this one, and there's more to be found out there. Because normally we see maybe like 1 or 2 of them per year, and it's only going to be a matter of time, folks, before we find a 99 off-center struck with the wide AM reverse. That's going to be a huge coin in itself. All right, continuing on with the goods. Okay, we always talk about some of the newer coins, but keep in mind some of the older stuff too is represented very well out there, especially on the show circuit. So we have an 1852 large cent. All right, so this is what they call the braided hair type. This one has a straight clip along with a Blakesley effect right there by star number 13 is what it looks like on the obverse there. And it's also got a little bit of a weak strike, which is evident on the reverse. This is just overall a very neat coin. So this one right here is sold for $44.98. And you gotta keep in mind, the older you get on some of these coins, sometimes these mint errors like this doesn't factor too much into the value of the coins. So, sometimes a mint error can actually hurt the value of a coin depending on its collectability. Something to keep in mind. Here's another nice one here. This is a 1969 $10 Federal Reserve note with an apparent back to front wet ink transfer. So you can see kind of like the transfer of the green of the reverse that is on the front of this note. It is a partial, about 60% of that green reverse is on the front of this note. Very nice, well represented example. Again, there was a little bit of the transfer of the ink that was on the impression cylinder when this subject sheet was fed into that area before the print occurred. And yeah, kind of like a die clash. We have remnants of that's been transferred there. So on the reverse of the note, we don't see any transfer of the black ink, okay, which, that makes a lot of sense. So this one right here sold for $178.99. Again, these are quite nice, and if you get a full transfer, 100%, those tend to sell for the most amount on today's market. Here's a 2022P. We had one of these on the last PCMR, and yet again, another one dropped. Now, let's keep in mind, this one right here has a fair amount of circulation wear. Okay, that's evident there. But you can see also, especially on the reverse, a pretty heavy die clash. The clash of Washington from the obverse was on that reverse die, and it made a really nice outline on this one. It's one of the strongest clashes you'll find on the American Women Quarters. And you would think that the popularity of these would wane after a while. It's 2 years removed from the release of this, but check this out. This one right here, understanding its condition, sold for $27, ladies and gentlemen. 13 bits. Right. Wow. So there was a fair amount of interest here from a number of parties. And again, it's not one that's particularly rare. You could always try and find one of these. I own a couple of them myself. Overall, just a really beautiful coin. And whatever your differences are with the American Women Quarter series, there have been a couple really nice finds from this series that has just, helped define how special it is. All right, so we have a first timer here. We have never highlighted a 20-cent seated Liberty before on the PCMR. I think I could probably finally retire because we have one here. Now this is the 1875S. It's bar none the most common date. But boy, look at this thing. Man, it's gorgeous outside the condition, which I could effectively say it's probably like an AU 58. It's that amazing. Might even have a shot at mid-state as well. This one here is actually on here for a completely different reason, other than the fact that it is a bitchin' type coin. This is actually a not so well known variety. It's the FS301 Cherry Picker's Guide variety, misplaced date. What are we looking at here? So when we look at the date, if you look underneath the 8 in the little teeth at the bottom, the denticles, you can actually see the top curve of a misplaced or a mispunched 8 in the denticles, that top curve. That's what we're looking at here, folks. That's the misplaced date on this one. Mint employees routinely punched numbers independently onto the working die, and they tested out certain areas of the punch in the denticles and any other part of like crowded areas of the design. They'll test out the the softness or hardness of those areas. And this particular one right here, this is such a banger of a coin. It ended up selling for $406.93 with a trio of bids in there. So there were a few people that were really, really, really serious about owning this coin, and such a great sale. And outside of that, it's the type coin of the ages. You're going to end up spending a lot of money on one that looks as good as this. Here's a oldie but goodie. We had one of these earlier in the show, 1974 $1 bill with a misaligned overprint. Shifted to the right this time, but this one right here I'd seen quite a bit of action in circulation. There's a little bit of the reverse, showing a perfectly fine centered, reverse. This one right here sold for $77.83 with 20 bids. Not too bad. Here's a 1946D Roosevelt dime. Okay, nice condition piece. But believe it or not, Roosevelt dimes are quite affordable. It doesn't matter what date you're looking for. Even the key date like 49S in BU condition can be had for about 20 bucks. And that's pretty much the extent of like the high watermark is what you would pay for one of these coins. But how about 4060? And this one actually is a really neat doubled die obverse. So you can see some of that doubling in full display here. This one is actually sold by Brian Rybar, who's one of the big variety attribution experts in the hobby today. And he could not pinpoint what the variety attribution was for this particular coin. Yeah, he even put like question marks in his listing title, which is not like him. Usually he would know quite a few, but man, this thing is a no doubter. It's got all the doubling that you want here, and Roosevelt dimes. Okay, has some pretty nice varieties, but you most certainly will need a magnifier to identify a lot of these. That's a given. So this one right here, folks, ended up selling for $43.90, more as an oddity, but it is a no doubter in the variety realm. Just need to know what it is. So pretty cool find right here. 58D Lincoln Wheat Set. This one, we got some delamination issues here. So a nice flawed planchet with some flaky croissant crust layers coming off the thing. This one right here sold for $17.96. We also have a Star Note. What in the world is this? Well, it's a 2013 B Series duplicate Star Note. Okay, we typically don't talk about these on the PCMR, but it is certainly worth a look when one kind of like sticks out like a sore thumb because of its sale price. This one right here is a Washington, D.C. printed piece, so this was one of the earlier ones. But it ended up selling for $177.69 with 46 bids. This thing was incredibly active. Now, when they go to sell for that kind of money, usually that's indicative of the Fort Worth pairing of this note being in existence or it had already been found. So, obviously the goal here, folks, is to pair up both Star Notes with the same serial number from the DC print and the Fort Worth print. All right, and then that's where these are going to be worth the most amount of money. It's kind of a bargaining chip as well for the other party that owns the other note. So again, they usually sell for like 20 to 50 bucks, but this one overachieved by a huge margin. I have a feeling that there were a number of people that realized that there was a Fort Worth equivalent of the same serial number that is out there, and again, it's a power play to mate this one with the other note. So quite wild and crazy. And note's actually in decent shape too for being a DC print. This one was printed 11 years ago. The Fort Worth ones were printed 4 years later, so they're a little bit more available. The DC ones, not so much. So we also have this one here too. This is actually a common occurrence, but a really erstwhile note to look out for on the newer $2 bills. 2017A. These are the Star Notes, and if you look at the top right star on a lot of these, see how it's filled in. They call this an overinked star, and there have been quite a few of these that have been found, and they're actually more affordable than you think. Grading companies actually attribute this, PMG, PCGS Banknote, they will put overing star or filled in star on the slab label as the error. So this one here sold for $74.96 with 36 bids, right? So it's got some value, something to keep an eye out on. The reverse of the note showing that it is perfect in every imaginable way. This thing is not circulated. And a cool one here. This is was a 2000p Maryland state quarter. Incredibly struck through a bunch of grease. Man, this thing got hammered. You can even see some of that weakness on the obverse as well, right there on United States of America. But yeah, that reverse die had a big old sopping coat of grease on there before the coin was struck. So this one right here sold for $43.24 with 2 bids. State quarters with major mint errors like this, always popular. And probably one of the crazier gutter folds that you will come across on this 1981 $5 bill. Check out the bottom there. So there was definitely some either wrinkling or some, something else. It's more wrinkling on the subject sheet than it was printed over, thereby creating this crazy looking monstrosity that you see here on this one. Hard to believe that this one had circulated for so long before it was even found out. Because obviously, when you have something that looks like this, it would definitely catch your attention. It doesn't matter who it is, whether you're a collector or not. There is some annotation on the reverse, some writing, so that is part of the condition issue with this one. How about $158.50 with 5 bids on this one? We also have a 1995 D Washington quarter with a couple of large size curved clips on there, quite attractive as well. How about $27 on the sale price, and that's with a trio of bids. Last couple here. There's nothing better than finding a paper money error on a star note. It's the ultimate act of irony, because normally star notes did replace notes that were misprinted or miscut during production. But we have this $100 bill here, star note, that is miscut. That's pretty obvious right there. Can't believe that they let this one through. Nice sale here, $313.45. Not a waste of time at all to hold on to this and then resell it, because it's as crazy as it looks. And then the final item today on the PCMR, a Henning nickel, 1944. Henning nickel. Man, these things are shooting up in value. Henning was a well-known counterfeiter that just did nickels. And this one, as you can tell by the date, should be a wartime silver nickel with a great big mint mark on the top of the dome of Monticello, or Monticello, however you guys pronounce it, is not there on this one. And not to mention that Henning had put in his little calling card in the looped R on pluribus on this one as well. Some people had asked me, well, what's the allure of investing or collecting into counterfeit coins? It just doesn't make any sense, but it's more or less, what he did during this time period. And, because of that and his backstory, it's just made these incredibly sought after. And there's a number of dates that are just wildly rare and scarce. 44 tends to be one of the more, common dates, even though it's a wartime silver date. And these things you could have picked up for under $100 like 6 years ago. Not like that anymore. This one ended at $279. Crazy. It's only going to be a matter of time before these things hit like 500, because everybody and their brother is looking for these. But that's going to go ahead and wrap things up on this edition of the PCMR. It was a really nice list. Some different coins highlighted today on this one. Again, just a reminder, information provided in this video is for educational use only. This is financial advice. Please collect and or grade your coins responsibly. That's always going to be the important lesson as we begin to grow as collectors and sellers of the game. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It was certainly a pleasure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my video if you haven't done so already, and hit that bell for instant notifications. So until then, you guys keep on collecting, enjoy this hobby, and I'll see you guys on the next coin video. So long, folks.